Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to get into something pretty fascinating, the whole collision of artificial intelligence and, well, the art world.
Yeah, it's definitely a hot topic.
Exactly. You've probably seen those AI images popping up everywhere and maybe wondered, how is this tech actually changing things for artists, for creativity?
hmm
So our mission today, really, is to pull out the key ideas about AI's impact, how it's used in creating art, curating it, and maybe even changing what we think art is.
Right. And its influence is, it's really quite broad. It's not just about, algorithms, basically, like instructions for the computer making pictures.
Yeah.
This tech is touching almost every part of the art world, and it's bringing up some really fundamental questions.
Okay, let's maybe start with the most visible part then.
Yeah.
AI-driven generative art. People making images from text prompts, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's where most people encounter it first.
So when we talk about AI creating these original visuals, what's actually happening there under the hood?
Well, at its core, generative art just means using algorithms to make something new, in this case, visual art.
Right.
The AI models, they're often trained on these just massive sets of existing art, huge databases. They learn the patterns, the styles.
So they study everything.
Exactly. Think of them like super fast apprentices who've looked at millions of paintings, photos, drawings, learned the rules, and then they start creating their own stuff.
Stuff that can be surprisingly original.
Yeah, absolutely. Sometimes derivative, sometimes genuinely novel.
And it's become incredibly accessible, hasn't it? You see these platforms where literally anyone can type in a description, type in a prompt,
Yeah.
and boom, get an AI artwork. That feels like a huge shift in who gets to create.
It is. It definitely democratizes things to some extent, lets people experiment without needing, traditional painting or drawing skills.
Lowers the barrier.
Yeah, lowers the barrier, sparks a lot of curiosity. I mean, remember that story about the guy who won a photography prize using AI?
Oh, yeah, just with text prompts, right?
Mhm.
Caused a bit of a stir.
Exactly. Highlights this shift perfectly.
Okay, so that's creation.
Yeah.
But you mentioned it's broader, museums, galleries.
Yeah.
They're starting to use AI for curation. How does that work?
Yeah, that's really interesting too. AI algorithms can sift through enormous art databases, right?
Way faster than a person could.
Way faster. And they can spot connections, stylistic links, maybe even trends that a human curator might just miss. So they can help with cataloging, maybe suggesting who painted what, or even figuring out the best way to hang an exhibition.
Good.
Yeah.
Could an AI actually get better at spotting the next big thing than a human curator? Like predict artistic taste.
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? AI is amazing at recognizing patterns in huge amounts of data, far beyond us.
Right.
Whether that translates directly into predicting like cultural shifts or future taste, that's still really up for debate. But the potential to flag emerging styles early, definitely there.
Wow. Imagine an AI noticing, I don't know, abstract expressionism taking off years before people did.
It's a thought.
So, okay, beyond creating or curating, you also hear about artists collaborating with AI. That sounds like a different kind of relationship.
It really is. More and more artists are seeing AI not just as like a fancy paintbrush, but almost as a collaborator.
A partner.
Yeah, a partner. They might use it to brainstorm ideas, try out different styles really quickly, or even automate some of the boring, repetitive stuff.
Which frees them up
For
for...
the bigger picture, the concept, the emotion, the core idea they want to express.
But this collaboration and the purely AI-generated stuff,
Yeah.
it leads to tricky questions, right? Legal ones, even philosophical ones.
So absolutely, big time.
Like who actually owns the copyright if an AI makes the art?
That's a huge legal gray area right now. Copyright law often requires a human author. So what happens when it's just the AI? It's being debated in courts, actually.
And how do people feel about it? Art made by a machine versus art made by a human hand and mind.
Yeah, perception is key. Reactions are all over the place. Some people find it fascinating. Others feel maybe a bit detached, like it's missing that human intention or struggle.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it's not just affecting the high art world, is it? I gather AI is also making waves in things like graphic design, branding.
Definitely. The practical uses are huge there. AI tools can help design logos, whip up marketing materials, personalize visual ads for different people automatically.
So efficiency gains for businesses.
Big efficiency gains, yeah, but also potentially new creative avenues they hadn't considered.
Okay, so pulling all these threads together, what does this mean for the big picture? Is AI going to fundamentally change our definition of art? What counts?
Well, I think it forces us to ask that question, doesn't it? When AI gets so involved in creating and even evaluating art, we have to think about what we truly value.
Is it just about human expression?
Or can creativity, emerge from other kinds of intelligence? It really pushes us to reconsider the whole purpose and definition of art in our lives and society.
So quite a journey we've taken there. From AI making images to museums using it, artists collaborating, and these really deep questions about what art even means now.
Yeah.
It's clear AI is a major force,
No doubt about it. It's reshaping the landscape.
and maybe something for you, the listener, to think about. As AI becomes more and more present in these creative spaces, how might that change not just the future of art itself, but maybe your own way of seeing it, appreciating it?
Yeah, how does it change your connection to art? Something to chew on.